And all right, hello, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of the One Up Sales Development Podcast. I am truly blessed and honored to propose to you for our next featured guest. This individual is actually the first one and only thus far C-level executive coming in hot. This person started out a long time ago. He's been in the game. He started out over as an editor and worked his way up into the marketing side. Got his hand wet and dirty in terms of marketing, worked his way up the ranks, became a co-founder of several companies. He was also the VP of Sales and Marketing over at Cloud Engage. Please give me a warm welcome for the one and only sales development leader as well, Mr. Tom Williams, CEO and co-founder of DealPoint.io.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. You know, the funny thing is being called Tom Williams, I'm rarely called the one and only. I started a LinkedIn group called People Called Tom Williams Who Do Sales and Marketing. There are 6,000 Tom Williamses on LinkedIn who do sales and marketing. So it's an honor to be called the one and only. I don't think it's ever happened in my life.
Oh my God, Tom. Thank you so much for hopping on the One Up Sales Development Podcast. We are truly happy and excited to have you here. Welcome aboard.
Thanks. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So, Tom, without further ado, for our audience here, why don't you go ahead and just give us just a little brief introduction about who you are, what do you currently do, and what exactly is DealPoint.io?
Yeah, I'll give the 1 minute pitch, and then we can move on to more interesting stuff.
Yeah.
So DealPoint is it's a sales tool and a buying tool. So our observation was you can have all the sales tools in the world for your sales team, but the guys who have the decision to make with all the risk on their side and all the money is actually the buyer. So we thought, why don't we make it easier for the buyers to buy? So you've got your Salesforce, you've got Clary, you've got Gong, you've got all those tools. What are we making for the buyer to make it easier? So DealPoint is a mutual action plan that you share in between the reps and the buyers to make it easier for the buyers to understand what the hell is going on in your sales process, for them to validate what is important to them, what their timelines are. So you end up with a much more predictable sales process, which closes the deal faster and makes it easier for you to report up to management. This date's is gonna close right here, and I'm confident because we've hit milestones 3 out of 3. We're on track. I believe in this date. You end up with happier customers, reps who are more in control, and the managers who have a much stronger grasp of when deals are going to close, which means everybody's happy.
Oh, wow. Okay. I love that. That's like music to my ears. Okay. So what I'm hearing is it's made specifically for the buyer. Like you mentioned, it's buyer centric. It's like, hey, in case they're wondering or the client is wondering where they are in the process, they can literally just log in and see where the steps are. Is that
it's like this. It's like you've sold your thing 1,000 times before, but they've never bought your thing. They have no idea. Like you have a 4-month sales cycle or a 6-month sales cycle. You know that. You know all the things that are going to have to happen between today and the customer getting value. But the customer doesn't know that because they've never bought your thing. So if you say early on in discovery, this is what the process is going to look like between today and you getting value, you getting your problem fixed, you show so much credibility. And so you're making a much safer path for them to walk along with you. At the same time, you're able to get information back from them. So you can say, we know that in this milestone, we need to bring a network analyst in from your side. Who would that be? And before you know it, you're building up your buying team, which is a key part of good discovery. But you're doing it in the context of helping them. So they understand why you're asking these questions. And then the really cool thing is, after you've got a good plan together, now instead of saying, I'm just calling to follow up, 3 months from now, you can say, I'm not calling to follow up. I'm calling because we're falling behind the plan that we agreed. You told me you needed this to go live by November 1st. Otherwise, you weren't going to hit your project. How can I help you meet your project priorities? And that's such a better conversation than, hi, I'm just calling up to follow up on the email that I sent that was calling to follow up.
Oh my goodness. Yes. So you're not following up, you're following through. And
I love it. Yeah. I'm going to write that down.
Yeah, that's amazing. And in business to business sales, what we all know that find out works. It's not about you, right? It's about taking the pain away, and that's amazing, Tom. So please tell us the history about Deal Point. How did you guys? When did you guys roll out? Who came up with this idea? Was it
Yeah.
you, or who are we talking
Yeah,
about
no,
here?
no. So about 5 years, about 5 years or so ago, I was running sales and marketing at this. It's an electronic test and measurement company, and it was cool. We made literally the best sine waves in the world, the purest sine waves in the entire world, and people like Apple and Sony and Samsung were our customers to design and then manufacture. Like those headphones would have been tested on
Yeah.
our equipment. Every audio company in the world used our gear. And so it was a very technical sale. All my salespeople were electrical engineers. And they would come to me and I'd say, where are we looking on the deals? And they would say, Tom, guaranteed close by the end of the month. And I said, oh, okay. And then from time to time, I'd call up the customers and I'd say, hey, Apple, how's it going? So here you're going to buy. And then, oh, no, we saw your new analyzer. It looks cool, but we're not ready to buy. And so there was this big disconnect between the sellers heard, wow, that's a cool audio analyzer, which is what the buyer said. But the buyer was just being polite. The buyer was like, yeah, that's really cool. Not, I'm going to buy it tomorrow. And so I realized there was this big disconnect between what the buyers were saying and what my reps were hearing. And I kind of put that in the back of my mind. I quit there. I founded a CRM company, which had we exited, but my advice is don't start a CRM company.
Oh, is that PressPoint?
And then I went to go work for Cloud Engage, which was enterprise software. And so it's a completely different market, completely different everything, but the exact same thing happened. So my reps would hear, wow, that's the coolest looking software I've ever seen. And they would tell me, these guys love it. They're going to buy, guaranteed going to buy this month. And then, lo and behold, the deal didn't close. And so I would call the customer and they're like, yeah, it's really cool software.
Wow.
Not, thank God you showed me that software that's going to fix my problem. Please, God, can I buy it right now? And so again, there was this big disconnect. So I just woke up in the middle of the night one night. I was like, if only my reps could hear what the buyers are actually saying and meaning, if they could get on the same page, then everybody would be better off. Like my guys wouldn't be wasting their time and we wouldn't be wasting the time of the customer either. We needed to find out what is the problem that the customer needs to solve, and then how can we help them solve that? And so it's like sales 101, but when you look at it that way, everything kind of falls into place. Well, they need a plan to get from here to there. And so over the next couple of years, Deal Point evolved from being a place where you could just share meeting information and next steps to a mutual action plan software where it's like, all right, these are the steps that we're going to follow. Because if the whole team follows the same process, you have way more predictable results. And the reps themselves don't get lost in like, what am I supposed to be doing today? It's much easier if you know what steps you're supposed to follow and you're sharing those steps with the customer, because then they know what they're supposed to be doing as well.
Nice.
So 3 years ago, started the company. We've got a killer team here now, 14 something people. And yeah, we're making lives better for sales people and for their customers.
Yes, absolutely. And Tom, congratulations, by the way. You started a CRM, didn't work out, but you didn't stop there. You kept going, and then you
got right back on the horse. Yeah.
And then you rolled out Deal Point. So, and I love that. They say one of the best ways when doing like a demo or whatever that is, whatever the sales process is to make the best of it. You got to treat it like you're a project manager. And that's what I'm seeing from Deal Point at IO too, what you guys are offering when it comes to buyer-centric. It's like, hey, this is where we're at. This is where we expect it to be within this certain time frame, and just moving it down and just setting the right expectation in terms of next step. And that's exactly what Deal Point does.
Well, and really, so like at an abstract level, what we're doing is we're just encouraging the rep not to focus on the close. If you focus on selling your thing, the customer's going to smell that from a mile away. And we call it the boat payment. If I'm focused on my commission check and my boat payment, you're going to know it. And the way you can tell is the 22nd today.
Yeah.
So, come around the 28th, 29th, I'm going to start getting a bunch of calls from vendors saying, how about if I give you a 20% discount? Can you sign? Because they have a number. And that's not my needs. That's your needs. So if you can just retrain your brain, it's not about selling your stuff. It's about fixing their problem. You will stand out head and shoulders over all the other people. And that starts right at the beginning of the SDR process. I get so many emails. I'm sure everybody gets the emails like, hi, my name is Tom. My software does this. It's irrelevant, because what I care about is if I'm doing a good outbound sequence, I'm making an educated guess as to what one of their problems is. And I'm offering a perspective on how to fix that problem. And yes, it's something that I can help with, but that's my area of expertise. But the idea is not just, these are my features and it's beautiful. That's not relevant at all. I bet that you have this problem. Here's an insight to how you could fix that problem. I didn't mention the software at all. I'm giving them a way to fix their own problem. And then, it is easier to do that with my solution. But that's not the insight that I'm sharing. I'm not talking about my software.
Nice. Oh my God. This is amazing, Tom. And just what you're saying, you're being highly valuable, right? You're showing some type of value.
Yeah.
You're trying to fix their problem. Like, hey, if not sure if you have this problem or not. If you do, here's a way to solve it. Oh, and by the way, if you want to, make it way easier, you should take a look at what we offer at Deal Point.
Well, and that's the second conversation, the by the way part. Don't even bring that up in the first bit. And I'm a big fan. Just go ahead and stab out the guess. Don't waste words on, I'm not sure if you have this problem or not. Just brazen in, say, I bet you have this problem. Or even better, if you can see like some hint, like if you see some numbers from a report or something that person said on LinkedIn, say, I bet you have this problem. Or just be definitive, because if they don't have the problem, they're not going to write back. And if they do, you've saved yourself 10 words of kind of ifing and butting in the script. Just barrel in. And if they say no, then at least you've shown that because the other response is they could say, no, I don't have that problem, but we did last year, but we fixed it. But you've already shown that you're the kind of person who understands their typical problems. So if it's something like completely out off the wall, then you've blown it. But if it's something that they recognize, this guy knows what he's talking about, then you're a lot more likely for them to engage, and they'll say, yeah, we did have that problem, but we fixed it. Or, yeah, we do have that problem. Can you help me fix it? Or, what is that problem? I had no idea, and now you're talking about it. Either way, just throw like a straw man up there as is this, I bet you this is your problem, and provide an insight to how to fix it. Not buy my software to fix it, but have you thought about making your team act more consistently? Or have you thought about presenting your customers with with a slightly less squeaky oil, whatever it is you sell? That the reason your production line goes slow is because the lubricant you use in the roller wheels is probably not ISO compliant. Whatever it is.
Oh my God.
And then before you know it, you're talking about the underlying business problems that they face.
Yes.
The hard part is how do you find those out?
Yeah.
That's the hard part. But then,
oh my God,
as an SDR, you have the kind of the responsibility to go push your leadership to say, hey, what are our competitive differentiators? What do we know that the other guys don't know? And back pre-COVID, I used to say, you're a junior SDR. Go talk to your senior VP of sales or somebody on the product team and say, hi, I just started here. Can I buy you lunch? I really want to understand what makes this company stand out from the competitors so that I can position that with our customers better. And first of all, they will be thrilled that somebody is taking an interest in this. They will be happy to tell you, and I promise that they will pay for lunch. So you get a free lunch out of it.
Kill two birds with one stone. Oh
Yeah.
my God. I love that. I love that. Man, you just really like the way you presented it too. Just think about the problem they have. Think about what it is and throw out finding a way for it to, and sharing that with them. How can they solve that?
Yeah, and just take it. Don't be afraid, because if you're wrong, who cares? If they're like, no, we fixed that problem. Okay, great, thanks.
Oh my goodness, Tom. So I want to dive a little bit deeper. I want to get to know you more. So, where it seems to me like you were in the UK at a specific time in your life. Where did you grow up? What did your childhood look like?
Yeah, so nobody's ever asked me that on a podcast before, Jackson. So thank you.
Yeah.
So this is funny actually. Every week here at Deal Point, we do a weekly challenge where we have like a Wednesdays at lunchtime. We take a break, put the code away, and we do a weekly challenge. And this week's challenge was show a picture from your childhood.
Ooh.
So I happen to have a book report from when I was 10.
Oh, no way.
I can share what I look like. So that's me as a baby.
Aww.
You want to see the youth, and that's me.
Yeah.
Looking ultra cool, age 14.
Wow.
So,
you still look like that right now. Ultra cool.
Ultra cool.
What's it? Yeah.
Yeah. So I grew up in England, but my dad worked for BP. So I spent about half my life in the US. I lived in Kentucky, Cleveland, Ohio, and Anchorage, Alaska, but
Gotcha.
always going back to the UK in between. So
Gotcha.
Definitely mid-Atlantic. I think it gave me an appreciation for making friends real quick, because I kept moving every few years, but also that there's lots and lots of different people in this world, and lots of different ways that people interact with each other. So the sooner you can figure out how this particular person wants to be spoken to, and what kind of sensibilities they have, the sooner you can, I'd say, mirror that or respect that, the better you're going to be able to establish rapport with them. And you can tell real quick if somebody's a jokey, kind of laid back person, or if they want to get to the point. The quicker you as an SDR can do a quick little poke and then figure out, okay, this guy's real serious. Okay, I'm going to bump it into serious mode. Or they want to josh around and have a little bit of fun. Like, okay, cool. Lay back a bit. The sooner you can figure that out, the faster you'll be able to build rapport with these people and get them to open up about their problems, so you can hear for those pain points, and then you can start to solve for them.
Oh my goodness. Yes. That was, if that wasn't the price of admission right there, I don't know what is. So Tom, that's exactly the trouble that a lot of new SDR and BDRs have nowadays. And yes, sometimes it's great to have a little bit fun. However, this is sales, this is a profession, and you have to keep it professional. But you're absolutely right. So you're talking about picking a poke. Like, for instance, if you were to call someone on Friday, sometimes they would be like, happy Friday. Oh, hey, yeah, happy Friday, pizza Friday. Or some of them just not really receptive to that. If you're reaching out to an enterprise, maybe a director or a VP, and all of a sudden, hey, Tom, happy Friday. This is Jackson. What are you? I'm like, whoa, excuse me. Who's this?
You'll hear real quick, like, hey, how's it going, Jackson? Oh, yeah, what do you want?
Yeah.
You got to be able to flip on a dime, and if they're, yeah, what do you want?
Yeah.
Go into super professional, courteous, tight mode, and it's not easy, but that is one of the things that you can practice at bars or wherever you're bumping into strangers. And the weird thing is, right, we don't go to bars anymore, right? So you can still practice. How can I establish rapport with these different personalities? You have to remain true to yourself. You can't suddenly put on a Southern accent because the person's from the South. But something that somebody did say to me years ago was, me personally, I'm able to find a touch point with nearly every person I talk to. So there's nearly always something. If I look on a LinkedIn, there's nearly always I was a Boy Scout. So were they a Boy Scout? Do they have kids? Do they volunteer somewhere? Just some. Ideally, it's something business related, but there's nearly always some kind of touch point. Like, I've lived a lot of places, so maybe they lived in Alaska or something, and I can nearly always wind it into the conversation just as a tiny, tiny little icebreaker. I don't think the fact that
Nice.
we both went to the same university is necessarily a reason for them to do business with me, but it does help in that rapport and trust building that I'm a real person.
Yeah, absolutely. Finding common ground, right?
Just something. There
Like,
must be some kind of angle.
yeah, and I understand where you're coming from, and I and you can correct me if I'm wrong. I truly believe, because this is at where the code calls, like, calling stranger to stranger, our guards go up, and it's like, who's this guy? But it's like, hey Tom, my name is Jackson, yada 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 yada. And you know what? I noticed you used to work in England. You travel around quite a bit. I actually travel around quite a bit too, and I understand sometimes could be hard.
Yeah,
What are
there
a
you
few
go.
things you
Yeah.
go? It's like, oh wow, oh hey, hey,
Yeah.
cool. Oh, by the way, we offer this X, Y, and Z.
It costs $15.99. What's your credit card number?
Oh man. Oh, Tom, I love your background, and I noticed. How long have you been playing music for?
A long time. Yeah, I was just trying to see if I had it. I bought that one bass when I was 15. So like, right,
Oh, is that
this guy was playing that bass.
nice?
Yeah, long time.
Is that a Marshall in the back right there? I see.
It is, yeah. So I've got my Marshall and my Les Paul for the guitaring,
Yeah.
and Fender fretless jazz bass
Yeah.
with the Fender Bassman amp right there. But truthfully, 99% of it's plugged into the computer nowadays. Just as I've got a wife and kids, they don't really want to hear the rock, so
Yeah.
I'm nearly always just plugged into Apple Logic and making my whole world in through my headphones.
Okay. So let me ask you this. You're in the basement. That's your thing you do. That's how you focus and sometimes relax your mind and truly gain into a different state of mind. Are you constantly thinking about, the future, what's next for Deal Point, the prospecting that you had for the day, or your experience while you're just jamming out?
I have a double challenge because I'm the co-founder, so I'm in charge of sales. Actually the challenge is trying to get out of the day to day, because most of an awful lot of my day is reactive. Like I'll have a customer meeting, I'll have a product decision. I'll have some I still do prospecting, even though we have a sales team, but they'll always be prospecting. I've always got all those reactive things working on me, and I have to make a real effort to carve out time on my calendar to do some more strategic thinking. But it's real easy for a week to go by without getting that strategic stuff done, because someone's is like a customer's begging for help. How am I not going to go to that before thinking, I wonder how we can make the Deal Point onboarding process better? Obviously, the onboarding process can wait because we have something that's good enough. Sure, it could be better, but I've got all these other higher priority things. So it is a challenge to you have to mindfully carve out time for the strategery. Otherwise, it falls to the bottom, and then you end up kind of letting events control you, which is not a surefire way to success.
Yes. Amazing. And I completely understand where you're coming from, working at a startup, wearing multiple hats, and you really need to be shifting gears as you go. But sometimes when you're shifting too much hat at a short amount of time, people tend to lose distance, they tend to lose focus, and it's just a little bit too much, especially when it comes to work-life balance. So I'm curious to hear from you. How do you juggle that?
Well, so I have my wife and I have two boys, 6 and 9, and so I'm done at 5:30. I'll get up. Hey, I'm done at 5:30. I'll go have play with the boys till dinner, have dinner, then put them to bed, and then I'll chill. 8 to 8:30 kind of thing. And I'll often come back down here for the 9 to 11 stretch. If not every night for sure, but many nights I'll come down here, and that's when I can be more productive because I'm not responding to things. Slack is not pinging me at 9 o'clock at night often.
Nice.
So and I can relax. I feel like I'm not on the clock, so I can relax a little bit. And like last night, I redid an AdWords campaign, and I'd been meaning to do it, but I didn't get around to it. And so I said, all right, I'm going to do it of an evening. And then the pressure is off because I don't feel that same pressure as when I'm on during the day. And then I think the other important thing is early in the morning is set out what do you want to accomplish today and what do you want to accomplish this week. And then that will prevent things slipping into the future because we're process oriented here. So we've got milestones.
Yeah.
And working back, I wanted to get certain projects in place, but it means I got to get the building blocks in place earlier. I can't just do everything on the last day. So kind of making sure that that's in the calendar and that it's accounted for early in the week will let me know in the middle of the week if I'm ahead or behind of the game.
Gotcha. Roger that. Tom, so when you're having a specific go down for the week, how are you measuring this? Are you writing it down and then you're coming back to it, taking a look at it, scratching it off as you go, daily goals, weekly goals? What does that look like?
Yeah, mine is done. Mine is, I'm, let's see if I got one. It's, yeah, I do it all on paper because I've used every, in terms of like task projects we have in the computer, but individual tasks, like what do I got to do today? I just find if I put it down on a piece of paper, then I get that little check feeling of accomplishment. And I can't count how many skeletons of project management systems are lying around. we use Monday, which is great. We use, I think software is appropriate when you're collaborating with somebody else because there's nobody else here to see my little list. So that's great for a team level interaction. But personally, I just like to have a paper list of things I got to do. And then we'll have regular check-ins throughout the week at the project management level to say, did I deliver on that? Or, did the other people deliver?
Nice. I love it. Yes. And, Simon Sinek talks about writing down goals too, and especially for individual tasks. As you cross it, you get a hit of dopamine and it's a sense of accomplishment. And it's funny, I write down things too. Like for instance, I actually have your right here for 2. I just scratch that. And I have other individual tasks as well. Tom, so are you familiar with Jim Quick?
Say the name again, please.
Are you Jim Quick? He's like known as the brain guy.
No, I'm afraid I'm not. I wish I was.
Okay. No worries. Reason I bring him up. So Jim Quick, he's this brain guy and very big fan of him. And I'd like to share something. And then I'd like to get your thoughts on that. So he talks about being reactive and being proactive. He says, for the first morning, right when you wake up, the first hour of the day is the outer day because your brain is in a different mental state of mind. Talking about waves like alpha, delta, and those types of specific wave. And when you wake up, your brain is at the most conscious. So what he says to do is instead of being reactive, you want to be proactive. And the way he does that is he doesn't touch his phone at all. Talking about no notifications, no emails, no text messages, just letting it be for the first hour a day and just really just stretch and meditate and writing down the goals that you want to get done. He goes what he calls is the 3x3, 3 business goals and then three personal goals, and he'll be checking out throughout the day. And he says it's pretty much to train your mind to be a thermometer where you set the setting in the setting and not a thermostat where you react to the setting. And the reason why is because if we all been through it too, if you were to first wake up and you got something like a bad message, it ruined your whole entire day. I was wondering, is this something that you practice too as a CEO over at Deal.io for your morning routines?
I've got elements of it. I'm normally in the seat here by before 8, so it's not crazy early. I'm here working at 8, but I do my absolute best not to book anything until 9. So my calendar is nearly always. It's like if I got to talk to somebody in Europe, then of course they can have that early slot. But I try my best to keep that open so that I can do planning and thinking and not be reactive. But I definitely look at emails that have come through to see if there's something a high priority, because I'm not I think the faster you respond to somebody, the more they appreciate you, and the more likely you are to be successful. So if a customer is asking me a question, I want to get back to them real quick. And we have customers in Asia and in Europe. So it could be 12 hours already since they asked the question, but I didn't see it. So I wouldn't be able to work for that hour knowing that there could be some burning time bombs that's about to land on me. So
Gotcha.
I would much rather know, okay, there's nothing urgent here, or if there's something I can hand over to somebody else, then I know it's taken care of, and then I can get into the what am I going to do? But I do try my best in that hour not to dig into practical things. Like,
Got it.
because if I do that, then the minute you start digging into something practical, you're back in reactive mode. And I like it because I can dig in and I can fix a problem. But that first hour, I really want to be like inventing problems, not fixing them, or identifying problems, not fixing them. But yeah, I wouldn't be able to do that. Free my mind of that if I had this. I wonder if I sent out a bunch of emails yesterday. Did any of them write back? I wouldn't be able to concentrate knowing that those answers might be sitting there.
Gotcha.
And I did recently quit Reddit. I was a Reddit addict.
Really?
I was looking at Reddit constantly. So I'm a week and a half clean now of no Reddit. And I also quit CNN and all those other like news cycle sites. So I'll look at the BBC News and The Economist. Will tell me what's happening on a week-long scale. And then I still look at Axios for a day long, but only a couple times a day, because nothing has probably happened in the last hour that I need to know about. But I was constantly, they call it doom scrolling. So I was constantly just looking at it. And I was like, geez, I'm wasting a lot of time here. So I cut those out of my life, and I've invented another hour of life by not constantly looking at CNN doom scrolling or Reddit. But by all means, you gotta be well informed by all means. But probably nothing happened in the past hour that didn't happen 2 hours ago.
Okay, media consumption. So what were you really looking on Reddit and CNN? Were you just you mentioned you used to be an addict on that? Were you just constantly just reading articles all day, every day, whatever the news
I liked malicious. You're walking me down the road. You watch tomorrow. I'm gonna be back at it. I like Tales from Your Server, which is stories about bad behaving people in restaurants.
Okay.
I liked Malicious Compliance, which is where people are told to do something stupid and they do it in a unkind way.
Okay.
I mean, Reddit has something for everybody. I thoroughly recommend it to anybody with an extra hour of life. If you have an hour of life that you need to burn, Reddit's fantastic.
Okay. So I'm familiar with Reddit. I never really dove into their content, but talk to me about just what do you get from that when you were doing it? Like what prompted
learning.
you to just?
I mean, what prompted me was that it was 100% distraction. So I didn't have to think about all the prospects I really should be calling on. They're still there, but if I have a quick half hour Reddit, then I can not think about it for a minute. Or, oh my God, what am I going to do with our whatever process? It was pure escapism that you can turn off. It's not like a TV show where you got to watch the end of it. Reddit never ends. So I could take a 5 minute or a 10 minute or rapidly turn into half hour. And that's why I quit, because it wasn't productive. So
Gotcha.
If I'm going to take a half an hour, it'd be so much more productive to take the guitar off the wall and dink around on that for 20 minutes rather than just sit there and have absolutely no productivity with the Reddit. I also like Boing Boing, by the way. Shouts out to Boing Boing.
Boing Boing. What is Boing Boing?
Boingboing.net. It's the best of the internet, just random stuff. But it's much more curated. So you only go there once a day and get all the stuff from the internet from that day, all the funny stuff.
Okay. Is there meme and GIFs in there too?
What's that?
Are there memes and GIFs in there? Or
yeah. All the good stuff. Yeah.
Boing Boing. Right.
Yeah, Boing Boing on that.
Okay, so there it is for the record, you guys, boingboing.net. So if you want to disconnect or something like that, I'll probably have to check that out too. Tom, when you were on this Reddit, where would you be in the basement playing music too as well, or are these just two separate times?
Well, Reddit aside, I try to get out of the basement as much as I can because it's dingy down here. So, but pre-COVID, we had this gorgeous office. It was full floor to ceiling windows. I had a rooftop patio. It was gorgeous.
Nice.
It was great. And now I'm in my basement. So it's not as nice. I guess the one nice thing is that I feel more comfortable down here actually, because when I was in the office doing calls, there were people on either side of me and desks, and I had my headset on and all that, and I definitely felt more self-conscious because I'm trying to do a sales call and surrounded by other people. So here it's just me and the microphone, and I got the speakers putting the audio back out to me. So it's actually that part I like more for being down here. But I will often, after the kids go to bed, I'll often work upstairs on the kitchen table just to get a breath of fresh air and, be able to hang out with the pets and stuff like that.
Gotcha. And you're in Portland, correct?
Yes.
Nice. Beautiful Portland. And hey, I really believe, and I just want to say it out there, that Reddit wasn't Reddit. That Reddit at the time around your environment was actually your basement at the palm of your hands. It's just a little quick disconnect, like, hey, boom, 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 just disconnect real quick. And I think that's well, I'm not encouraging you to go back to Reddit, but I think that's a very good practice, because you got to just, sometimes throughout the day, just got to just, boom, disconnect real quick, come back and say, okay.
Yeah, but disconnect and do something productive. That's get some modeling clay out. Just do something so that at the end of the 20 minutes, you can say, well, at least I made a model, or maybe with Lego, do something other than just scroll your life away. And like, I don't do any social media except for LinkedIn, which is strictly business.
Yes.
You'll, and you can't learn all the time. I know about people who listen to podcasts while they're doing the dishes. That's great, but you can't do that all the time. But if you are going to take a break, try to make it creative if at all possible. Failing that, boing, failing that, Reddit.
Yeah, I love it. And you're absolutely right. If I mean, it comes to the fine line to the point where you use a disconnect, but if it gets a little too long or out of hand, it becomes a quote unquote addiction. Reddit for an hour. Then that's like, hey,
what if I gave you an extra day of the week? What would you do with it?
Yeah,
maybe you would you'd pound a bong and watch TV. That's a perfectly reasonable option. But I like to think if I had an extra day, I'd make, I'd be proud of it and do something. It doesn't even need to be valuable. Just something creative is what I strive towards, at least.
Yeah, no kidding. No time's waste, right? Amazing.
You're dead before you know it.
Yeah, don't want to go there. Tom. So before we dive deep into sales development real quick, I want to pick your brain on this. So you started a CRM, which exited. Totally fine. You're at deal point now. So, for someone who's listening, that maybe they're just started, new young SDR, they love tech, they love SaaS. That's just a quote unquote word, just a phrase, just a slang word for sales development part. That's how we use tech and SaaS. Mm-hmm. And let's say, one day it's their dream to become an owner of a tech and SaaS company, perhaps creating some type of software like how you did at PresspointCRM. Let's say they came up with a bright idea, for instance, and say, I'm just gonna throw it out there. Let's say they say, you know what, I found a pain point. I see a lot of enterprise AE, they're doing the medic process, but they don't have a CRM, a platform or software to track the medic process, to know who they're speaking to, which department, what means what to who, leadership level, who to report to, and they want to create a software for that. What would you recommend them do to get started, to get out there, and what does it take? You have to hire coders. That's what I'm wondering.
First of all, in that particular circumstance, they should read my white paper on mutual action plans and medic. I wrote a white paper on how to use mutual action plans to make sure you're tracking all the right points in a medic sales methodology.
Nice.
available
Nice.
at dealpoint.io/medic.
I'm gonna have to take that. I'm gonna take that.
Yep. Yep. So there's plenty of good ideas out there, and I'd say the two things that I would make two spreadsheets. One is a financial model of how much do you think people would spend to buy this thing, and how much do you think it's going to cost for you to sell it? Because I've seen this many, many times. You got this thing, and you know how much you can sell it for, but the numbers just don't add up. Where even if you're successful, and even if you execute everything that even if everything works like you think it's going to work, you still go out of business because the business fundamentals don't add up. So you want to make sure that the cost of your product and the cost of selling your product is less than the revenue that you're getting in for the product. And it's real easy to discount how expensive people are. So I think that was my biggest mistake when I was modeling this earlier on. I was modeling salespeople at $3,000 and $4,000 a month, and that's not reasonable. By the time they're loaded up, they're $7,000, $8,000, $9,000 easy. And so you got to figure out how much money do those people need to bring in to even come close to paying for themselves. So
Nice.
business model is the first thing of how does this actually look on paper, even if everything's cool. For the product itself, if it's software, my co-founder, whose name is also Thomas, he had a great quote that every SaaS in the world was a spreadsheet at some point.
Oh.
So take whatever, we were talking about those insights earlier. A solution, a product is an implemented solution, right? So see if you can do it manually for a few customers first of all. Whatever that insight you have, whatever that pain point is, do it manually as a consultant or as something, and it's hassle and it's in a spreadsheet and you got to move this and tweak that and dial that. Do that work and see if people appreciate it and if they pay for it before you get into the expense of building software to do it, because you want to make sure that there really is a market out there. And I also learned this, that your friends will all say, yeah, I would love to try that. Yeah, sure, I'll try that. Way different than a paying customer. Almost a direct opposite of a paying customer, because they want to make you happy. They want to be polite to you. What you really want is someone who says, this doesn't do anything for me. That's so much better feedback, because then you haven't gone down the wrong path, or at least you're getting some feedback from real potential people. So do it as manually as possible, first of all, before you even get into it. And I think the other lesson I learned is you can't hire or pay for the technical side. You have to find a co-founder who's in it with you, like 50-50 or thereabouts, to actually make it happen with you. Because when I first had the idea of DealPoint, I was shopping it around, like how much would it cost? And people were saying, I could build that for you for 30 grand. And I had 30 grand. But that's pretty much all my startup capital. And if I'd done that, I'd have spent the money, and I'd have had the first version of it that had never been tested. But then I wouldn't have had any ongoing money to fix it and to iterate on it, and all the technical insights to make it better. It would be all a one-man show, and that's a recipe for failure. And there's so many devs out there who offer to do it on like a part-time CTO or contract CTO. They're just going to end up taking all your money, and you're going to end up with a beta product that maybe it meets the mark, but probably will miss the mark because you haven't put it into the market. And then you're paying the CTO guy, it's going to take months to get traction and feedback. And so you can't afford to pay somebody who is good enough to be your partner at market rate, because they're going to want my business partner Thomas could easily get $200,000 a year as a CTO at a publicly traded, a proper company.
Yeah.
And so there's no way I could afford to hire him as a contractor to do my work. So the very first parts of DealPoint, we had myself and Thomas, and then we had one intern who's still with us now. He's now one of our senior developers, but he came straight out of code school, and he was affordable. We could do that back then, and we've grown the team, we're profitable and all that stuff, but we did it without me going into massive debt. So for Christ's sake, don't put your house on the market. Don't mortgage your house. Don't do any of those crazy things, because I think it's okay later on you can make some bets, but don't make the bets early on before you've got some validation that it's not just you with the idea.
Wow. Oh my God.
You can tell that's from the heart, right? That was true from the heart.
That was amazing.
The other key thing you got to have. So you got to have a business partner. You also need to have a strong life partner. So it can be the same person. Like my brother and his wife own a really successful software company. They talk about software a lot though. So I don't know if I'd want to be married to it. I don't know if I want to be married to my business partner.
Right.
My wife is instrumental to our success. She supported the decision. She just supported there were a couple of years when the income wasn't great. I definitely would have made more money if I got a day job.
Oh, wow.
But she saw that I was happier trying to make mine. So she was instrumental in that support.
Amazing.
Ideally, you can find a life partner who has a job. That makes it a lot easier. So my wife is a stay-at-home mom. So that made it a little bit more challenging, because we weren't able to rely on, we didn't have an income to get by. So we had to be successful real quick. And we were real lucky that at Deal Point, we were able to start paying ourselves relatively quickly. And then don't go out for funding until you absolutely have to. You've got to have customers before you even talk to investors. You've got to have real customers. Otherwise, they're going to laugh at you. You've blown that one chance to go in front of them. And even if they do take you on, it's going to be at such a terrible percentage that you're going to be bought out and not happy on the ownership.
Yeah. Wow. Oh my God. Okay. If that wasn't the true real price of admission here, I don't know what this is. That was amazing, Tom. Thank you so much for sharing that and shedding light. And reason this means so much to me is because I've been doing a lot of reviews on sales engagement platforms, just compare and contrast. And there was this one time where I was even using 4 different kinds at the same time, and I even have a screenshot of it. And I started realizing, man, for an SDR, BDR, for them to truly be successful, all they need is this, and this. And over here is too much. Over here, you don't really need it. And I thought about if I was to build my own, what would it take? What's the process like there? And you just shed light on that. And
that's one of the things, right? So between Outreach and Sales Loft, I could definitely build a better Outreach and Sales Loft. There's bits about both of them I like, and neither of them have a great LinkedIn plugin that is as good as
It's not Apollo.io, right? Or
Apollo has a good plug. Apollo has a good extension, and you can grab the people from a list and throw them into. Throw them in. But there's another one, and
Foxbound or Fox Zero. I think it's Foxbound.
It'll come to me in a minute. Right after we hang up, it'll come to me. There's no way you're going to beat any of those people on breaking into that market. And I think that's the mistake that we made in the CRM. We had great innovative features in our CRM, but there's no way we were going to push into the market.
What was it? Without
Zant?
No. I know another one. It's not Foxbound. Let me see here. Check my stuff.
No.
Gotta find out. So
yeah, I'm so sorry. It hit me. We'll get there. I don't want to get too trapped on who it is, but the point is that if you grab this, you'd have a killer system, but you're not. That's where that business case comes in. You got to figure it would cost me $2,000 to get each customer to push them out of Outreach. Outreach is a year-long contract, so I'm only going to be able to address 1/12 of my audience at any one time because they're still going to be in contract. So can you wait for a whole year? Can you live on zero income for a whole year until you start to see it coming in? And that's the part of the business model that that has to be solid even before you do the very first line of code.
Nice.
Because numbers got to add up before you waste time on making it cooler.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And it's not persist IQ, is it?
No, it's not.
Okay. Okay, let's just fast forward.
Any Rorschach is the rep. So
don't worry. I'm gonna have to
I'm
check that out too.
I'm doing it here because Annie is great.
Okay, let's find out. And is this and
live on the internet?
And this is a sales engagement platform, correct?
Yeah. Lead IQ. There we go.
Oh, Lead IQ. Yeah.
Sorry, Annie.
Lead scraper. Yeah.
Yeah. Lead IQ. Fantastic. So
Annie Rusher. Is it Annie Rusher?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
The AE, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I know Annie.
She's great.
She has an awesome little sister, Isabel, over at Outreach now. She was interning at Lead IQ, I think. So.
Oh, well, there you go. Keep it in the family.
Yeah. Yo, Annie Rusher, shout out to you. I gotta get you on this pod next, girl.
Annie,
Annie Rusher.
They have a great product. It has great bits that I would love to see Outreach have, but it doesn't have it.
Gotcha.
And yeah, it would kill me. So I'm using Duck Soup to replace the missing features in Outreach. So half of our people use SalesLoft and half of our people use Outreach just because of how the contracts lined up. But neither of those services are great. I want to build my list in LinkedIn. I want to use Navigator to search for a certain parameter of like everybody who talked about mutual action plans.
Right.
And then I want to be able to pull that list into Zoom Info, get their information, and then push those into my cadence.
Yes.
But the going from a list to Zoom Info is real hard.
Yep.
The things I would love to do about Zoom Info, we'll have a separate session bad mouthing the UI of Zoom Info. Fantastic data.
Yeah.
But man, if only I could see which contacts my colleagues have tagged, but you can't see what contacts your colleagues going after inside Zoom Info. Zoom Info knows, but they're not telling each person on the team what the other people are going for. You can't say, hey, this would be a good one for you.
Yeah.
But that's probably a different podcast.
Yeah. And that's why they say, hey, man, check the CRM. Make sure you check the CRM, man, before you reach out. All right. Okay.
Check the CRM. That's right.
Oh, my God.
The truth.
Tom, this has been amazing. I know we're running up the time here, but there's just a few things I just want to ask you real quick, Carol, just for the audience takeaway. So you are the CEO and co-founder of DealPoint.io.
Yes.
Let's say for our new SDR and BDRs reaching out right now, what are a few tips and advice you can give them to be strategic and to really earn the right and really breaking through the noise when it comes to doing outreach? Like, I guess my question is, if there's an SDR and BDR listening right now and they're prospecting to someone such like yourself, what would be the secret sauce you would say for you to give them their time?
So the one I heard, it's a little bit distasteful, but don't. I'm not going to use the phrase. So don't LinkedIn somebody and then immediately nail them with a pitch. It's so distasteful. And what you're going to end up doing is you're going to kill the golden goose, because LinkedIn is awesome. But if everybody, the minute you say yes to a connection, bang, there's an clearly automated pitch being dropped into your mailbox, people are going to stop using the medium and you're going to kill the golden goose. So don't do that. I can read automated emails. It's obvious when when there's one variable place, and I can actually tell because we're DealPoint.io. The actual company is called DealPoint. So if it says how are you doing from DealPoint.io, I know that they just dropped the variable in from LinkedIn. And so clean up your company names to make them friendly company names. So at least it reads like a human would say it. Don't say, hi, how are you doing from Intel Inc. Incorporated? Just Intel. The way to get my attention is to be real short and say something interesting that was not automated. because I
Nice.
know exactly all the fields that ZoomInfo has. I know all of the fields. So I know you can drop in that I'm in Portland, Oregon. I know you can mention what the weather is in Portland. I know that you can get my name, you can get my last name, you can get how many employees work at Deal Point, you can get the name of Deal Point. None of those things help me. I already know all those things. So tell me something that I don't know and offer to help me do something better. And have some kind of trick about it. Not do you want to increase your sales? Well, yeah, of course I do. But every other list vendor and sales enablement tool and meeting setter as a service who hits me constantly, they'll say, "Are you tired of having too many leads?" I didn't think so. Tell me what you do different than the other 14 people who just emailed me on that same subject. What is your insight as to how you do it differently? And there could well be something that you do differently. Like maybe you're an appointment setter and what your thing is that you send a telegram to people. That's your differentiator, because you know that people like physical mail nowadays. Tell me that we're different than the other guys because, or people are more likely to respond because. Tell me that insight, and then I'll listen. And personally, you can nail me because I'm a big believer in karma. So we have an outbound team who bangs their head against the wall all the time, and it's tough out there. So if you've got a good pitch, I will respond to you. And if it's got a typo, I will tell you it has a typo. If I believe that it's 100% automated, I will say, "Are you a robot?" And I will do my absolute best to be a productive force of change in the world of sales.
Oh my God, that was amazing. Tom, thank you so much. Those were like golden words. Don't kill the goose. And
Yeah,
really, if they don't spend the time on you, why should you spend the time on them?
yeah. The machine gunning is not productive. It's not gonna. It's just not gonna be successful unless you're selling something real commodity. If you're selling
Oh
coal,
man.
by all means, just email everybody who buys coal and say, "I've got some coal that's slightly cheaper." But if you have a solution, you have to identify what that problem is and make some educated guesses about my situation. And it doesn't need to be overly complicated, but just make a good guess about something that I'm experiencing that I haven't thought of.
Amazing. Amazing. I love it. Tom, thank you again so much for hopping
All right, my
on.
pleasure, Jackson. Thanks for
Just,
having me.
just to wrap this up here, if there's someone who wants to reach out and say, thank you so much for the advice, what's the best way to reach out to you?
Despite there being 25,000 Tom Williamses on LinkedIn, if you put in Tom Williams Deal Point, you'll find me. LinkedIn friend me and say, I saw you on Jackson's podcast. I will write back.
Amazing.
If you say I was browsing the internet and your profile popped up into my feed, I'll be a lot less likely to write to you.
Yeah. And Tom, thanks again for hopping on. We truly appreciate you.
Sweet. All right.